Ladies and gentlemen, we are live once again. It is the second episode for the week of January 19th, 2023 of the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am your host, of course, Jake Hughes, also known as Common Courtesy on Twitch. And across from me, as always, is the old man.
The old man. People get a kick out of that when you call me the old man, by the way. Because I don't look old, apparently. I look like I could be your brother. Nobody said that, just me.
I was going to say, you keep telling yourself that.
And by the way, that beginning, that whole little 30-second beginning thing.
Yes.
We need to do something. That sucked.
Yeah,
that sucked.
We don't have, you need to go on more rants.
That sucked more than the Canucks suck.
Well, before we get into the Canucks sucking, which they definitely do very much so. Very sad news from the weekend. A fan favorite in Vancouver, and from the sounds of it, all of hockey world, Gino Ojic passed away. He was only 53, I believe.
54.
No, I believe he turns 54 later this year.
Oh, was it? Okay, could be.
He would have turned 54 later this year.
53 then.
Sad.
I don't know. Do you remember him at all, Jake?
I don't remember him as a player.
Right.
Like I remember him as a figure. Stories. I remember the stories. Him as a player was, I think, before my time.
Not only could he fight, and that was his job. That was back when every team had their enforcer quotation marks. But he was an entertainer. Like, not only would he fight, he would rip his shirt off. He would skate around without his shirt. Whoa! What are you doing there, big guy?
Hitting wrong buttons.
Whoa, not that button.
Not that button.
But he could score. He would literally, he could score goals. I was watching highlights of him this week. Just after I heard the news, of course, I went on YouTube and they had a highlight package.
Yeah.
Some of the goals he scored, you're like, this kid could play.
Well, and not just that, but like the stories he has, I can't remember who it was, but on Canucks Hour with Thomas Drance and Jamie Dodd, they had, I can't remember the player's name. It wasn't Bure, but someone around during that time.
Okay.
And they were saying how, also a former Flame, like bits and pieces are coming to my brain, but I can't think of the player. But they were talking about the friendship that Gino and Bure had. Oh. It was probably one of the reasons that Bure stayed in Vancouver as long as he did was because of Gino.
He was amazing.
They tried to partner this guy up, and I can't think of the name, and I'm horrible for it. They tried to partner them up to bunk together on road trips. And he said he would have to go find Gino at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning on a game night, and he'd be in Pavel's room, and they'd be hanging out, having drinks, just talking, having fun, right? Like they were the best of friends. They were inseparable.
And he was Pavel's protector on the ice. Exactly. Anybody touched Pavel, they answered to Gino. It was the way it was back then. You're not allowed to do that anymore because they brought in that enforcer rule.
They did.
Great loss. He has been sick for a long time. He wasn't supposed to live this long. He had some type of degenerative heart disease that should have taken him long ago, and he made the doctors look silly, to be honest, because they gave him 3 months 5-6 years ago.
That was long. It was 10 years ago. They were talking.
Was it 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
Wow.
It was when they brought back the skates, and they did one of the anniversaries.
Yes. That's right. I remember
he wasn't supposed. He was in the hospital, and they had fans outside of Vancouver General Hospital. And like 2 weeks later, he was on the ice in a jersey, skating around with everyone wearing the skate. And like, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Like,
good man.
That was the type of guy he was. He such a nice person, great person that Linden came back to the Vancouver Canucks organization for this.
Yes,
he came out to honor Gino. Like, he's a special person.
He will be one of those guys that every Canuck fan my age or older, and probably younger, kind of that generation in between you and I, that age group in between you and I, that will remember Gino forever, because Gino was cool. Gino was, I could hear it so vividly, the whole freaking arena chanting Gino. That was a big thing. It was amazing. So yes, rest in peace, my friend. You'll be missed.
And there's no easy way to segue out of a
No,
conversation
I was
like
like, how do
that,
you
right? Like,
segue out of that?
I don't know where you go, but last night the Canucks played.
Did they?
Well, they honored Gino to start the game.
They did.
Brought everyone out. They released their third jerseys, the new flying skate.
Is that the one with the tank in it?
No, that's a special buy you can find on Twitter.
Jake sent me a picture of their skate
Let's see if
emblem.
I can.
And I was like, why does that look so ugly? Because someone had modified it and put a tank in the middle of the skate. So we got a good kick out of that because the Canucks are tanking. Let's face it. What are they now? 0. Oh, we both clicked the same button.
Stop hitting the
buttons. There we go.
Stop your buttons.
The last 5 games, I haven't won a game. They're 0-4-1.
Well, oh no, that's wrong. They're 1-4-0.
What? Then what did you do? Jake, what are you doing?
I'm hitting buttons. I'm trying to edit it.
Oh my goodness, rookies.
Because they did win against
Good help is hard to find.
Really,
I think I need a new co-host.
I think I need a new co-host. So yes, we won one game in the last, basically since we spoke last.
We've won one game.
We've won one game.
Damn them for winning that one game. They're now, I think, what are they, bottom 6?
They are bottom 6.
Yes, they got games in hand and blah, blah, blah.
No, I'm not even talking that. I'm going to be talking. They're 10 points out.
Don't do it.
They're 10 points out of being last in the NHL. And they're 10 points out of being in the playoffs.
Oh, he's being rational, folks. Usually at this point, Jake would go on a freaking rant about winning percentage and losing percentage and time in the offensive end and time in the defense. Shut the fudge up. That's all bull hockey.
It's not.
What really matters is that little number on the bottom of your screen, 1 and 4. That's the only thing that matters. They suck.
Not at all.
And they drive me crazy. I love them. What did you say? It's
an abusive relationship.
Because we love them dearly, but holy man, do we not like them right now?
God, I'm at the point where I'm having the game on in the background and I'm actively cheering against the Canucks.
We want Bedard. But as you know, I listen to the Rod Peterson show daily. If I don't, apparently I get in trouble. And he brought this up, and he was asking people which team they would like to see Bedard go to, and of course, I said the Canucks. And I actually said Bedard deserves the Canucks.
No one deserves the Canucks.
Well, that's what Rod said. Rod was like, really? You would want him to go into that organization right now?
It would be life-changing, but as far as all Canucks fans know, we'd screwed up. We'd screwed up. We'd
screwed up royally.
We'd interim. We'd send him to go get a surgery and need 4 more, like Tanner Pearson, which, by the way, is now under review by the NHLPA and the NHL.
Oh, is it really? I didn't hear that.
They've opened a formal investigation into what happened. This all stemming from Hughes' comments.
Yes,
Quinn
I think Hughes did it on purpose. Hughes he thought about what he was going to say, and he said it with reason behind it. Because 100%. Nobody knew about this, and it needed to come out and become top of the news stories. My question is, can you fire an owner?
You can't fire an owner.
Because this is where it comes to. Sorry, you distracted me with that scrolling on the bottom there.
You're welcome.
Whenever you have an organization, and whether it be you're losing, and I'm going to go away from sports. I'm going to use a business. A business is constantly losing money. Year after year after year. You've changed the employees, you've changed the manager, and you keep going up. Where does that stop? Like, sooner or later, you got to get to the top, and you got to look at the owners and say, this is your issue. Yeah. This is your freaking problem. You need to go.
But I don't think they
There's got to
can.
be a board of directors that could kick their ass.
But there's not, because they're a privately held company.
Yeah.
And the problem is they're still making money. If they were losing money and they were bleeding money, the NHL could step in and say, hey, new ownership is needed.
I don't know who Overlanding Canada is.
Yeah, I don't know either, but we'll bring it up. Go Oilers, go! I appreciate the sentiment, but
no, I don't even appreciate the sentiment.
Well, I mean, at least they have a good team.
That's like telling me to F off. That's like, hold on. And then they hide behind a false name because they're an Oilers fan and they can't actually tell us who they are because they're embarrassed to be an Oilers fan. It's probably...
Would you be embarrassed to be
my nephew?
Would you be embarrassed to be an Oilers fan?
If I was a Canuck fan and then I traded and became an Oilers fan, yeah, I'd be embarrassed.
That's fair. That's fair. No, there's a lot of issues in Canucks.
Back to our Canucks.
The Canucks are in turmoil. There's no easy way to put it. There's issues. I want to touch on a couple of things that Jim Rutherford said during his press conference, which started out as a medical press conference. He was flanked by two doctors, team doctors, and was talking about the procedure and how what they, without too many details, what they did, how they go about actually diagnosing people and checking things with that. And then it turned in, he dismissed the doctors about 10 or 20 minutes. And then basically it was a whole new press conference.
It was like a state of the franchise conference,
which doesn't make sense for two reasons. One, why now? Fire the coach first. I'm sorry. Bruce deserves better.
Does he?
Yes, he does. He's one of the most winning. He's one of the most winningest coaches in the NHL.
Travis Green screwed it up.
Travis Green couldn't do it. Bruce Boudreau couldn't do it, and now Rick Tockett's going to come in and fix it.
No,
maybe it has to do with the players.
Who are you talking about, Rick Tocchet?
According to
Babcock.
According to Elliot Friedman, Frank Cervelli, Thomas Drance, top names in the industry, it's a done deal with Rick Tocchet.
Really?
I haven't heard
this. This is you keep me in the dark. I feel like a mushroom.
It's good sometimes to get your legit reaction. So it's a done from everything. The depending on
which Rick Tocchet been lately. Refresh my memory.
Right now he is
actually you talk. I Google.
Yeah, you Google. Well, I'm talking, but it's a by all accounts it's a done deal. There are three different heads about it on why the deal why it hasn't come to place yet. One, TNT won't let him out of his contract because he's on TNT down in the States as an analyst.
Oh, okay.
Two, Francesco Aquilini and the Aquilini ownership group don't want to pay three coaches to only have one be coaching because they're still paying Travis Green. They'll be then paying Bruce Boudreau. And the third is
paying Green?
They're still paying Green. Green had a 3-year contract when he got fired that he had just signed.
So Tockett's used to horrible teams.
Yep.
He's only coached one team in the NHL.
Yep. And what team was that? The worst team in the NHL, as far as I'm fair, fan-wise. They don't have any arena-wise. They have a 5,000 seat arena that they can only sell 4,000 seats to because they have to get 1,000.
Can't even sell out a 5,000 seat arena.
It's a joke. It's the Arizona Coyotes. But I mean, on the plus side, he has a relationship with OEL from down there.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait. The reason Tocchet got fired was because him and OEL had major disagreements and don't like each other.
Oh. Well, we're buying OEL out next year anyways, so
can't see why we would. But going back to Jim Rutherford,
they have to clear up their what's it called, cap room, so we can get some new players in.
Well, as that's a perfect jumping off point because Jim Rutherford, and this is a quote: "When I came first here, I talked about getting control of the cap, getting the cap back to where it is, getting rid of some contracts, and we've been able to do that. Now the opportunity hasn't been there, but it's still my job to get it done. Until we do that, we're not going to be able to make the kinds of changes that we need to make, or certainly the changes we need to make to put ourselves in a better position." So he came in talking about how he'd wanted to it would be minor surgery to get the Canucks to a
Yeah,
playoff position.
whatever.
But what have they done? Like he's like, we haven't done anything. They signed Miller to an extension.
Yeah,
That's looking terrible right now.
horrible.
After coming off of a career year, which shocking when a player is playing for his contract, that's usually what happens. Look at Bo Horvat this year.
Yeah, exactly.
They've signed Ilya Mikheyev. They've extended Brock Besser.
Yeah.
They've brought in more cap space than they've put out in any shape or form in 3 contracts that, I mean, Ilya Mikheyev has been all right. He's been a solid second line penalty killer. He's in my opinion, I think he's great with Hughes and Kuzmenko. But what else have you've brought in? Stillman, who's garbage. Like he's a 5th defenseman. He's a 6th or 7th defenseman on a good NHL team. He's in the top 4 in our team. Like there's no changes that have been for the betterment long term.
We could go on and on and on and bitch and moan and wah, wah, wah.
Yes.
What makes it turn around? Obviously, if the team was to stay the way it is right now, what changes would you make? Subtle changes, as Rutherford said, retooling to make it so we'd be a playoff contender.
Well, he did mention that he has to make, like in the presser, he just talked about how there needs to be major surgery done to this team to make it better. You need to find a way.
What do you need?
Yeah,
what do you do?
You need to, as much as it sucks, not signing Bo Horvat at this point is the best thing to do, and trade him for prospects or draft picks.
Yeah,
draft
picks this year.
You need draft capital.
Draft picks this year would be awesome. This is a deep draft.
What we should be doing is then. Okay, we get a 1st and a 2nd. I'm assuming he's going to go to a contender of some sort. So we're getting a late 1st rounder. Do you then go to whoever gets 1st place and you combine your 1st and that 2nd first and you go get Connor Bedard?
Nobody's giving up Bedard. You want to set your fan base on fire.
Then do you go after number 2?
Yes.
You go after Fantilli? Like, you know what
2
I mean?
Or
like
3. Yeah.
If you're not there, if you're 7th or 8th, do you take your 7th and whatever your 20th, 21st, 30th that you get from that trade and try to get it full?
Team that would trade number 1 spot right now, if the Canucks won it, they would figure a way to fuck it up. Oops, sorry. They would figure out a way to screw it up, and they would trade Bedard because they're that dumb.
It's asinine right now with that's the confidence we have in the leadership is 0. There is no confidence that we have that they're not going to screw it up.
So back to
let
me rephrase my question because I don't think you're understanding my question.
No.
What positions, forward, defense, goalie, do you go out and find right now to make this team better this year?
To make I refuse to answer that question because I don't think we should be making ourselves better this year.
Let's play hypothetical. If you were, and don't name players, what position do you go and get? Left wing, right wing, center, defenseman?
A 21-year-old right shot defenseman who's a stay-at-home, solid, hard, physical, tough to play against, who can let Hughes play his offensively puck-moving style. That's what you need. You need a player.
You need 2 lines, if not 3 lines of solid defense. You need that first line of defense.
Yep.
With Hughes and that stay-home guy.
Yep.
Then you need 2 stay-at-home guys, and then you need 2 grinders on your third line, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the Lightning, who the Canucks played last night, they have 3 defensemen who are probably top pairing defensemen in any other team other than the Lightning.
Exactly.
They have been separated onto 3 different lines.
Canucks' problem isn't offense.
No, not this year.
We're scoring goals like freaking crazy.
We have the worst goals against average or worst save percentage in the NHL, but our top 5 in scoring.
Yeah.
Let's say we get average goaltending. We get average goaltending and defensive support.
Do we make up those 10 points? Easily. That's only 5 games.
Like if Demko stayed healthy and was on top of his game, I don't think he was healthy to start the season.
I think he was injured from the start.
I believe we're probably in a playoff position, or with Edmonton and Calgary fighting to get into a playoff position.
Yeah, I totally agree. Problem is, there's no chemistry on this team except for maybe one or two players that I see. And I've watched hockey. I mean, I'm going back to 1970. I was 6 years old watching my first Canuck game, and I've seen really good Canuck teams, obviously. And the chemistry on those teams, you could just feel it. It was special. It was something different. When you see this team, I'm going to be blunt, they look like friggin' losers.
Yeah. Well,
Their
they are.
shoulders are slumped.
Like,
Look at a good team. Their shoulders are back. They're high-fiving before the game. The Canucks are skating around like they're freaking sad sacks.
They are. They were promised by the GM publicly, and I'm sure privately, that this was the year to make the playoffs. They were making the playoffs this year. It was an utter failure if they did not make the playoffs.
Well, it's beyond an utter failure. It's damn well if I'm the one giving up on the Canucks,
it's over then. Like, you guys don't know this, people listening, people watching. This man would literally, if this was last year and I was saying this because it was probably the same results, but we were on a winning streak, he was the only one who kept me believing in the slightest of ways.
Right up until 4 weeks ago, I was still the one saying we're going to make the playoffs. We're going to make the playoffs. And we're going to suck.
Yeah. It's just going back to the chemistry. The only people who I have chemistry on the team right now is Quinn Hughes and Luke Shen. Those two guys have impeccable chemistry. And you've got Kuzmenko and Peterson.
Yes, that's the ones I was thinking of.
Those two have the chemistry up the wazoo.
Yeah. And then you got Miller trying to be a superstar all by himself. He couldn't pass a puck if his life freaking depended upon it. And when he does, it's to the wrong freaking team. I don't understand how somebody could play so well last year and then be such a bozo this year. It's like sign a millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars and then go, screw you. It just doesn't. Get rid of him. I say you got to get rid of him one way or the other. You can. We still have time to trade him.
No. Physically, we can. I don't think there's a team that'd be willing at this point to take a risk on him unless we're eating a percentage of that salary moving forward.
Now we'll get picks. That's all you're going to get from him because his salary.
What pick? You're going to get a third round pick for JT Miller?
No, second.
You're not getting a second for him right now. Not with him signed for $8 million for 6 years or 6 years for $8 million.
6 years. Who knows? No, it's 8 years for $6 million.
Whatever. That's so. It blows my mind. He's the same age as me.
To a contender, he could fit in. He could be the top two lines easily on a contender.
If he didn't have that extension, I agree. I 100% agree. If he didn't have that extension,
I don't know. $6 million isn't that much money in the NHL anymore.
There are, I think, 5 teams that have over $3 million worth of cap space right now. That's it.
Yeah, but you're going to give away somebody to us to get them.
Worth $6.5 million next year? Yeah. Like, that's the thing. You're not getting back a $6.5 million player.
Why are you going half? It's only 6. Get rid of the half.
I feel like it was a half. Whatever.
No, it's
you're not so okay. So you take back a $3.5 million player.
Yeah.
Who's making that trade? So now your draft pick scenario is now out the window. You're not getting a draft pick. You're getting a player worth $3.5 million.
God, make me the GM for the day. These people don't know what they're doing.
I would love for you to be in a GM situation and be like, yeah, this is a good deal. And other GMs would be like, ha, 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 click.
Stop being reasonable.
God forbid I'm reasonable.
I hate when you're reasonable, and I can't argue my point when you're reasonable.
Damn me being reasonable.
So, Canucks are done. We both agree.
Yeah.
Tank for Bedard. It's the only thing we can do.
The link I just put into the chat is the hashtag Free the Tank t-shirt that was posted onto Twitter.
Free the Tank.
Free the Tank. Because the whole campaign was free the skates.
Mm-hmm. But the Canucks did say that they had planned to release the skate jersey.
They did because
at this time, anyways, because you can't just make that up.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. It's not. It's don't get me wrong. They were planning to unveil the colors anyways, It was already rumored to be in the works anyways. I think this just preemptively they wanted to. I think the players, honestly, because they didn't announce it.
Look over here.
Hey, look what we're
It's kind of
doing.
coincidental that they did this days after probably the most damning news conference I've ever seen the Canucks have in how many years now? How many years? 6, 70.
What year did they start? 73?
70.
No, 64.
70.
70. They started in 70. So it's been 53 years.
I said it 3 times.
I didn't listen to you.
I know.
I mean, the reason they released they did the skate for that game was because of Gino.
Oh,
I believe they had an entire campaign that they were going to do, and the passing of Gino, either the players, the owners, or GM, some combination of them said, "Screw you, let's do it now. We have everything ready to go.
Makes sense.
We don't need a reason to do it. Let's do it."
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, the Canucks they're just a frustrating team right now, to be completely honest.
And you can hear it in both our voices. Like, there's just no redeeming qualities. It's just
no, and that's the thing that's the most heartbreaking for me is I usually am the guy who watches 70 to 75 of the 82 games in a season, whether it be actively or passively. Like, I stream Tuesdays and Wednesdays now. You can check out my channel, Common Courtesy. It's
cheap pop. There are no coincidences, Rod says. We have Rod Peterson watching. He says they are no coincidences. I don't think so either, Rod. You know where I come from.
I lost my train of thought now.
Oh no.
Where was I going?
Have a thought go?
I had a thought that went. What were we talking about before you distracted me and I plugged my stream? Oh, I used to be the guy who watched 70 to 75 games a year.
Yes.
And I would be the one yelling at the TV. You can ask my roommate. You can ask the multiple people I've lived at. The games I've watched with you, we yell at the TV as if it will help them. I will be the first one to yell at refs for not making calls.
Rod will be my witness. I am calm, cool, and collected when I'm watching the game. And I sit and I drink my tea and I relax while watching a football game.
Is that what we're calling adult beverages on this show? We're calling them tea now.
Are you drinking an adult beverage while you do a podcast?
Not at all. I'm drinking an Arizona watermelon.
Oh, okay. That's better. What kind of fruity drink is that?
An Arizona tea that's made with watermelon. It's delicious. No, it's so demoralizing. I almost don't want to turn on the games, but it's such habit for me to do it.
Sorry, Rod's distracting me. Look at the chat.
There's no reason. Like, I am, whether we win or we lose, I'm demoralized.
Mm-hmm.
Because either we win and we're further away from being last, or we win and I'm like, or we lose and I'm like, I hate losing.
Yeah, exactly. And the worst part is we're stuck in that middle where we're probably too far away to get Bedard and we're too far away to make a playoff. So we're stuck in mediocre land.
Well, yeah. So if you look at these standings, the last place team is Columbus and their winning percentage is .381, which means they get 31.8% of the points they play for. And Chicago, who's in second to last, gets 33. So they get a third of the points they play. We get 44. We get 44.3%.
This is what I'm talking about, folks. Stop. This is what I'm talking about when he gets into his nerd stuff. 33%.
This isn't nerd stuff. This is math.
33.4%.
This is how the standing should be done.
How many games have they lost? How many games have they won? That's all that matters.
No, but this is how the standing should be done. This is the problem. Last year, if we went based off of point percentages, we would have given up at this time last year too.
You can talk for like 30 minutes and not say anything.
Yeah, just please stop playing. But so we get 44.3% of our points that we play for.
How many?
44.3.
Okay.
The losing teams get like 10% less than us. 13% less than us per game.
I don't think that's as what we're doing right now, though. Because right now we've won 1 in 5. That's not 45%. Just I don't want to correct your math, but winning 1 of the last 5, that's 1 in. That's not quite 45%.
So folks who like to understand, complex stats,
Nope.
complex stats. Yes.
That's
Last
the
5
only
games.
stat you need. Go
No,
by 5 games. Go by 10 games. What are we over? What is our record over the last 10 games?
I don't know right now.
It
Give me 1 second.
sucks. We're probably like 3-7.
2-8-10. 2-8-0
Oh.
the last 10.
Okay, so that's not 45%.
No, but we also
This
went on
is
this.
where we're tracking. They're tracking the other way.
The last 10 games we've played have been against the top of the top in the NHL.
Oh my God, you're driving me crazy, kid. I blame your mother.
I
blame your mother.
You can't say look at the last 5 games and then not look at the last games. Looking at the opponents you play is a part of it, right?
But if what my you've team done in the last 10. Stop yelling. Stop yelling.
We played Tampa Bay, Winnipeg, Carolina. There's another team up there that I'm missing completely. But we played Tampa Bay twice in those 10 games. I can go back and find it, but I'm not going to. I refuse this argument enough.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is the overall percentages is great, but it's what you're doing now. Like we could have won the first. Let's just pretend we won the first instead of losing the first 8. We won. We went 8-0.
Yeah, we'd be in a very different position we are right now.
But let's say the next 20 games, we went 2-18.
Yes, and that math would dictate that.
So it's what you're doing now that counts, is what I'm saying.
I understand that completely, but you have but you also have to look at the opponents. How much you want to bet on Monday? I'm gonna make a prediction right now. This is the first Hughes Sports Podcast prediction.
No, Monday, it's not, and I'm going to come to that because we made predictions last week.
Okay, this is the first ever non-results oriented prediction. We predicted the football games results oriented. This has nothing to do with results. Monday, Rick Tocchet is announced as the new coach. Bruce Boudreau is fired.
You think Monday?
I think Monday.
You're hearing this, Rod. You're hearing this from
Monday. It happens
live from Hughes Sports Podcast.
Monday it happens, and then look at our schedule after Monday. We play Chicago a couple times. We play Columbus a couple times. We play Arizona, I think 3 times. We play San Jose.
So
and you know what's going to happen? We're going to go like this.
Back into
we're
the playoff.
We're going to go like this, and then people like you who just looked at wins and losses are going to be like, "We're going to make the playoffs. We're going to go on a run. We got the Rick Tocchet bump. We're going to make it to the playoffs." Then you know what? We're going to end 4 points out of the playoffs, and we're going to be stuck with 16th overall, which, don't get me wrong, this draft is very deep draft, but a 16th overall isn't going to change our entire organization. Like, if we just keep Bruce in, and we keep tanking, we trade Bo, we trade Brock, we somehow unload Myers to someone, Luke Shen has gone for something, we'll be near the bottom of the playoffs. But no, we're going to make a change because
I wish you were
people are impatient.
I wish you were a Fitbit.
So you can see
see what your heartbeat is right now.
I have one somewhere in my bedroom. It just makes no sense to me. Like,
it's
this
so easy to rile up.
It's such common sense to me to let things stay bog standard. And it goes back to ownership. And I swear to it because there have been rumors around the NHL media that Francesco wants to win a cup before his father dies. His father's in his late 70s.
Well, why wouldn't he?
I don't blame him.
How many times have I said, I don't have a lot of years left.
Yeah,
we need to win a freaking cup.
When you hear rebuild, how many years do you think a rebuild would take with what we have right now? 5 years?
5 years. I always say 5 years. I don't know where I got that number from. It always comes out 5 years.
But we already have our star goaltender. We already have our number 1 defenseman. We have Elias Pettersson. So does that not shave to... Thank you.
3 years. Do I have 3 years left?
If we tank hard, this year,
get Bedard.
Does that shave off a year or two? Because we'll get players who want to come play with Bedard.
Didn't Rutherford literally say we are tanking? I thought we were tanking.
Tongue in cheek.
I don't think it was tongue in cheek.
It was tongue in cheek. I think it was a look at the results. Where are we? We're at the bottom 6 teams in the league.
It's pathetic.
But moving on.
Once proud franchise that won President Trophy after President Trophy.
who had
Went
players take salary cuts
to
to
stay in
stay
the
with us.
yes. Now where are we? It's an embarrassment. And
It is.
you know what the worst part is? I could always argue with somebody who wasn't a Canuck fan, and I could always say, "Look at our record."
Yeah. Look at
It's
our
like
record in the
it's
last
like
20 years,
it's
or
like somebody beaking at you on the field or on the ice, and then you
you point
point
up.
at the scoreboard, right? It's the same thing. Now, somebody dishes the Canucks, and I'm like, "Oh, God damn it!"
the
I
the
just threw
word
my
the
pen.
the best part
I
is I
pulled a
usually
rod.
I usually agree with them at this point.
Well, because you have to.
There's nothing else you can
You
do.
can't defend this.
No, you can't. Like
Can we move
it's
on? I'm sad.
yeah. I was just about to
I've had enough
uh
sadness for one night.
yeah, it's
Can we go to something way better, like a Nathan Rourke interview?
let's go to a Nathan Rourke interview, or talk about a Nathan Rourke interview, because I missed most of it. I was at
Ah,
work today.
Nathan
So
Rourke
I'll let
was
you tee it up.
Nathan Rourke was on the Rod Peterson show, which is airs daily on YouTube Live and on Game Plus network across Canada and down through the States, and on a radio station down in the States, WQEE, out of
Georgia.
huh?
Georgia.
Yeah,
I
I think it's
think.
good. I forget.
Rod, correct us if we're
Rod
wrong.
will tell us. Anyway, he had Nathan Rourke on, and it's cool because when you watch a show, especially when you're on YouTube, you can type in a question for his guests, and he'll actually ask your guests. One of my questions, and it's really kind of been one of those things I've thought about over the last 2 weeks, is what is he going to take away from playing the year? Really, he only played 1 year as starter, and he was out for half of that year. But what is he going to take from playing in the CFL, moving forward to the NFL? I've heard tons and tons and tons of interviews, and I've heard a lot of really good speakers, and I've heard a lot of really bad sports speakers. Nathan Rourke is one of the best articulate speakers I've heard in a long, long time. This kid took one question and he was able to talk about it was close to 2 minutes just answering that one question. His biggest thing he was going to be able to take away from the CFL going down to the NFL was how to be a pro. And what a better concept for a young kid. I mean, what is he, 24, 23?
I think he's 24.
To be able to say, I learned how to be a pro and I learned from the best, Riley and Burnham. That's the 2 people he mentioned.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. I am so looking forward to hoping the kid gets a shot. That's all he needs. Give him a shot.
And the big thing is, like, again, we follow the football very casually.
The NFL
very casually. The Jaguars are still in the playoffs.
They are.
But all it takes is one injury for him to have a good camp, and one injury or one bad
play away. He's
one
one play
stretch.
away.
Yep.
He's literally going to be, and I honestly believe I don't think he would have signed anywhere if he didn't have a very good opportunity to be the number 1 backup.
Yes. He also, if I remember correctly, it's also his brother's favorite team.
It is. He had said, he had told Rod during that interview that his brother actually painted his room in Jaguar colors. He had the Jaguar bedspread, the pillowcases, like he was a huge, huge Jaguar fan. I don't know if that played any part of him taking the position there, but it's kind of a cool story.
Yeah.
His brother is burning up the college ranks down, and I mean, he's an up-and-comer as well.
Yes. I think he's burning things too hot to go to do what Nathan had to do and go the CFL route.
Hard to say, right?
It's
who knows? I still don't understand, and I'd like to do more in depth. I don't know how Nathan ended up being overlooked in the NFL and came to the CFL. A lot of people were really, really, really mad Yeah, good timing, Jake. A lot of people were really mad when he posted this and said the CFL was a detour on his path to the NFL, an
which
unexpected detour.
which to me, so what you guys are saying, there are people who listen on the podcast. So if not, you can check us out on YouTube as well to get the visuals. But this is the statement that Nathan Rourke put out when he signs, announcing that he had signed with the Jaguars, basically thanking the Lions, the CFL, Canadians everywhere, and that he was sorry it took so long for him to come to this decision.
And he says, the CFL has been an unforeseen detour on my football journey, but a necessary one. What people were focusing on was
the wrong thing to me.
Well, and it was an unexpected detour.
Yeah.
And then they stopped. They didn't feel like reading the whole sentence. The whole sentence says, but a needed one.
Yeah.
It was the best thing that ever happened to Nathan Rourke, was playing in the CFL for the year he did. Would I have loved to see him play 5-10 years in the CFL? Hell yeah. But
okay,
he's too good. We don't have this thing called moolah in the CFL. Of course he's going to go where the moolah is. And his dream, every kid's dream, is to play in the NFL. If you're that good of a football player, your dream is to play in the NFL.
I played football for 12 years, 12 seasons over 10 years.
Yeah.
And that was everyone's dream. Yeah, it was that long.
Doesn't seem that long. Wow. But it was. That's what everybody wants to do.
If you have your goals set to the CFL, you're not going to make it to the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, if you have on anything, if you want to achieve the bare minimum, good luck achieving that. You need to have your sights set to the highest of points. You need to shoot for the moon.
What have I always told you? Shoot for the stars. If you hit the moon, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, right? Like, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people, especially CFL purists, and I'll say that in quotations, even though we love the CFL game more than we love the NFL game.
Yes. Oh,
it's the game I've literally watched my entire life.
Yeah. Ditto.
If I was good enough to play football in the NFL,
of course you would.
I would go play in the NFL because
I'd kick your ass if you didn't, because I need to retire.
A, it's more money. B, it's better competition.
Yes.
And there's a super small percentage of human beings that have not just the skills and the talent, but the motivation and the competitiveness to get to that level.
It's the truth. It's the same as the NHL. I mean, there's how many millions and millions of kids playing hockey? How many of those kids will make the NHL? Less than 1%.
Less than 1% of a percent.
Yes, it's that small.
Yeah.
It's those kids like Bedard who do nothing but. They literally do nothing but play hockey.
Nathan Rourke, he doesn't have, he has Twitter for press releases like this. Yes. He doesn't go on Twitter. He doesn't do social media. He is focused on football.
I guarantee you he wasn't the kid at the bar till 4:00 in the morning. He was the kid
not just that,
on the football field to 4:00 in the morning.
No, or in the gym, working out or watching film. He wasn't the guy in high school. Like, we always think of athletes, and it's a Hollywood perception of athletes of being the guy who shows up to the party with all the women. No.
Yeah.
That's the high school athlete.
Exactly.
You know who the real athlete is? The guy who shows up to someone's birthday party and says, "Hey, how's it going?" Daps everyone up. I gotta go hit the gym. I gotta go watch film. I got practice. I got specials coach. I've got it. It takes that next level. No matter what you're doing,
you can do all that other stuff when you made it.
Yeah, where
lots of time to make it.
Most people don't have that drive. Or dedication or that competitiveness to be there.
Exactly.
So
I wish Nathan the best. We're buddies now, by the way, me and Nathan, best friends.
Oh, okay. You asked him one question or had one question read to him, and now you're buddies. It makes sense.
Best friends. He's going to get me tickets when I go down to visit Rod. Nathan's going to set us up. 55-yard line. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just letting you know.
Because, second, maybe third string quarterback can do that.
Third string quarterback. You watch your mouth, young fella.
Wow. So, what does this mean for the rest of the CFL teams, though? The only team that is really set in stone for their starting quarterback is Winnipeg.
Yep. Yeah, really.
Who
Everything else is up. It's the most interesting. We talked about this last week. It's the most interesting off season that I can remember. Maybe just because I'm been off work and I'm paying attention to it more. But it is the most interesting off season, and it's going to come down to February 14th, probably here by noon, 1:00 our time, where Bo goes. Or do we hear before?
I don't think.
Or can we hear before?
Well, yeah, because Hamilton could sign him to a contract right now.
No, Hamilton has the rights to negotiate with them.
But they can sign him. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just like if he stayed with the Stampeders, he could have signed,
of course,
as soon as the year ended.
So do we hear before where Bo goes? Because that's going to decide where all the other dominoes fall.
Yeah.
Because nobody's talking about it, but if I'm BC, I mean, yeah, I know right now they're saying they're going with Vernon Adams. I don't believe a word I'm hearing. I think that's just talk.
And I think a lot of it is the receivers. Like, a lot of it happened on Twitter where it wasn't really the media or the BC Lions at first. It was everyone congratulating Nathan Rourke on his decision to sign with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that Vernon Adams, it's your time, let's go, basically. And then co-GM and head coach, can't think of his name, I can picture his face. Blank. Oh, goodness.
Blank.
My goodness. What's his name? Come on now. Rick Campbell.
Campbell, yes.
Rick Campbell came out and said, look, Vernon Adams is our guy. We're going to go with him.
And
why would they in the media not say,
and Bruce is our coach right now?
Sorry?
And Bruce is our coach right now.
But they said right now. With Vernon Adams Jr., that it was never a right now. It was Vernon Adams Jr. is our guy.
I think, honestly, I'm a big believer that if Bo doesn't go to BC, and the predictions and all the insiders are saying Bo's going to be in Hamilton, then Saskatchewan's going to get I can picture his name, but I can't say it.
What team is he from?
I don't know. I'm blank. They're going to get their guy.
Yep.
And then for Cody's going to go to BC.
Cody Fajardo is going to be a BC line.
I honestly believe that.
You have a 1A, 1B situation with
Fajardo. You can call it whatever you want until one of them takes over.
No,
that's the way it was supposed to be in BC last year. We were supposed to have 1A, 1B. Well, guess what? 1A stood out and was like, oh, okay, and we have our A.
Yeah.
We have our A+++.
It just, if you were going to go after if you were going to go big QB hunting and go after Bo Levi, why wouldn't you take that opportunity in the media to say, look, there are a lot of options. We're waiting to see what happens until free agency. When free agency opens, we'll reach out and talk to these guys. Because you're literally sending out a signal to Bo Levi that, hey, we're a big market. You can play indoors. I know you guys don't believe. A lot of people don't believe that he wants to play indoors or somewhere less cold than Calgary. I believe that's why he won't go to Saskatchewan or Edmonton, is because it's too cold. He's a Texas boy. He likes to play in the warmth. Look at his passing percentage anytime it gets cold. Even in the Grey Cups he's won, he's thrown multiple interceptions.
Yeah,
you've seen him with his glove on the 55-yard line.
Hamilton isn't going to help the weather. That's
why I'm thinking there. Well, it's warmer. They get a lot more snow, but it's a lot warmer than it is in Calgary. They don't get minus 40. They get a lot more snow, but they don't get to the same negative temperatures. I think the decision for Bo is going to come down to money, and I think BC. I mean, they've basically already said that they're willing to pay top quarterbacks good money. From what everything's been said about the offer towards Nathan Rourke in being $600,000+. So how do you look at Bo Levi and not think that he would be able to fill that role? And why wouldn't you use the media to start that negotiation process, or at least hint that you're interested?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the guy's name, and that was going to Riders still, and I'm stuck, and I can't think of his name, and it's bugging me. I was trying
That's
to
fair.
Google it, and it wasn't coming up. And so it's going to come down to where does Bo go?
Yeah.
And then everything else is just going to be a domino effect from there. February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Do we do a special Tuesday podcast in 6 weeks?
Yeah.
1 to 3.5 weeks.
Can
we do a CFL?
Do we do it on the Tuesday instead of the Monday? Or we do the Monday normal one and still do the
No,
Tuesday?
we do Thursday. We don't do Monday.
What am I saying? Monday, Thursday. So instead of Thursday, do it Tuesday.
Do it Tuesday. Cover everything. Or do we wait till Thursday and let all the dust settle? Because let's face it, it's the CFL. News might not be out on that Tuesday.
Because it's not like the NHL where
or the NFL or the NBA or La Liga
any other
or,
freaking professional league,
the Premier League or Bundesliga. Should I go on? Heck, in Russia they get more information on what's going on.
It's going to be interesting to see what coverage TSN gives the CFL trade deadline, our free agent, just because of all the big names. They might give it an hour.
You think they're even going to give it an hour? Like, that's... You have way more faith in them than I do, to be completely honest.
The NHL gets 4 days. It's nothing but... It's like a week's worth of freaking coverage, live shows, 24 hours a day.
July 1st is almost always NHL free agency, and I know that because I have watched it. I've woken up early on Canada Day, not to celebrate Canada Day. Love Canada, love the day. Don't really celebrate it. It's a day to have a drink and have a day off. I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning because the trade deadline starts, and that's when all the action happens. And I will have a screen open of Sportsnet. I'll have a screen open of TSN, and I have Twitter going just so I can stay on top of what's going on. But the CFL, we might get a response in a week later being like, "Oh yeah, we signed this guy, by the way."
That's hilarious. NFL's the same thing.
NFL.
Speaking of the NFL.
Yes.
Speaking of the NFL.
Can
we go back? Can we go back to last week's show?
Did you write down the predictions?
Oh, I wrote down the predictions.
All right.
I lost. I said Seattle.
Hey, wait, let me open up this. Let me open this up for the last weekend. Calm down now. Let's slow down. Slow down.
I already did it.
So the first game was
Seattle
Seahawks 49ers. We both chose the Seahawks.
Yes,
and
we lost
49ers
that
won by a score of 41-23. We wouldn't have covered this spread.
Destroyed us. Jaguars.
We had the Jaguars and Chargers. And did you hear about the bet that was made on this game? This was something I wanted to bring up with the guest we were supposed to have today.
Which reminds me, we should tell everybody next week we're going to have Kelly Kellner on.
I was going to do that after this part.
He had something pop up. He had to fly out of town, so he couldn't be on the podcast. He's literally on an airplane as we speak.
Did you hear about the bet that was made on this game? Because
no, is that the $1 million bet?
$1.4 million to win 11,000 because the Chargers went up 24-0, 24-1 at the half, and the Jaguars came back. And you know what? I'm happy because if that guy who probably bet $1.4 million probably put 20,000, 30,000 on the Jaguars to win, and made his million back.
Yeah, probably.
So Jaguars come back.
We got the Jaguars correct.
31-30, which I guess now has to be my team.
And we got the Bills game correct.
34-31 in a very entertaining second half of that game.
The Vikings.
Giants.
You took the Vikings.
Did I take the Vikings?
No, I took the Vikings.
Oh.
Which one was it that we were off on? There was one that we weren't the same.
Did we both choose the Vikings for this one?
I don't know. I just wrote down Vikings because I chose it.
You have to write down what I chose as well.
It doesn't really matter.
Well, yeah, it's over now.
So we've lost on the Vikings.
You lost to the Vikings. Who knows what I chose?
And
Ravens versus Bengals.
We took the Bengals.
I took the Bengals, and then
Cowboys
versus Brady. And
you took Brady.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, I didn't because I can't.
So we went 4-2, which isn't too bad for a bunch of freaking bums.
CFL fans who have objective focus on fans as Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, if we would have been thinking with our heads, we would never have put money on Seattle because who puts money on a Seattle team?
Yeah, who would do that?
I don't know. Same
So
guy who bets on the Canucks
I don't have a pen here,
to
so you're
win
gonna
by
have to write
3
down.
points.
You're gonna have to write down who I'm choosing this time. You have it written. All right. So the first game, Saturday at 2:30 Mountain Time, 4:30 Eastern.
Say that again.
The first game on Saturday at 2:30 Mountain, 4:30 Eastern.
It's just that easy.
Jaguars versus the Chiefs.
Well, we're taking the Jags.
I'm taking the Jags. The Chiefs did win the division, so we're probably, making underdog bet on this one. But there usually is an upset in the divisional round, so that's my upset. You then have the Giants versus the Eagles.
Hold on.
No,
Giants versus the Eagles.
Giants versus the Eagles, which is the 8:15 Eastern Time, 6:15 Mountain Time game.
Giants
New
or
York
the
Giants.
Eagles? I think the Eagles.
All right, yeah, I can't. The boys that I play hockey with, that's their team, so I can't go against it. Shout out to Jeff, Mike. I got your Eagles. Bengals and Bills starting off Sunday.
Now, guys, boys, as you call them, boys. If they lose, it's all on Jake.
No, it's all on you.
I'm telling you. Okay,
it's all on them.
Next.
Next we start Sunday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 Eastern Time. Bengals versus the Bills.
Bills.
I'm going Bills. I think the Bills are going to the championship.
Next.
We have the Sunday night game starting at 4:30 Mountain Time, 6:30 Eastern Time.
This is the one I'm actually looking forward to.
Cowboys versus the 49ers.
I just wrote down a C and then I crossed it out.
Why'd you cross it out? Why do you think you're most interested in this game?
Because it's like a nostalgia game for me. Cowboy 49ers seems like an old school football game
back
from
in the
way
Garcia days.
When I was a kid. I'm going to take the 49ers.
I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Oh, see, we always have one team. Okay. I got them both written down. Let's see. We will see next week. Next
Thursday. What day is that? That is the 26th. We will be live at 7 o'clock. Yeah, it's already the end of January. We will be live 7 p.m. as always. We will have a very special guest named Kelly Kellner from GameChangers.ca.
He's going to be joining us from the Bahamas, where he's going to be playing the Caribbean Classic, they used to call it. Now they just call it the PCA, I think.
PokerStars Caribbean Classic or Caribbean. Whatever it is.
Google. Yeah, he'll be in the Bahamas anyway.
He'll be in the Bahamas, and he will join us from the hopefully beautifully warm, sunny Bahamas to discuss betting and sports betting, understanding it, because we like to sports bet, but we don't know the ins and the outs, to be completely honest. And I think it'd be a great
always thought it was just you bet win and lose, but apparently not.
And you can parlay games. You can choose the underdog to win more money, or if you're choosing the favorite, you might not win as much money. The difference between the decimal system and the American system, how to read both sides of the odds. Those are just a few things that I want answers to.
They call it the PokerStars Players Championship
in the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's what it's called now. PCC, the PPC.
PPC.
Interesting.
Well, that is us for today. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in, whether you're live on YouTube or checking us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts.
You can tune in to us, which is kind of cool. It's like it's when we put it up there, I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." I've kind of a podcast up there.
It feels more official than it really should,
because we're definitely not official.
We're trying to be.
We are a lot of things. We are a lot of things. Irrational, passionate,
professional. I've got green hair.
I've
got green hair. I don't know how professional you can be with green hair, but ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. We have already run overtime. And,
no, we're not. We're 59 minutes and 42 seconds. We still have.
Looking at the clock. It says 8. It says 8 o'clock. So it's time to wrap up. Thank you, everyone. If you do like what we do here, please give us a 5-star rating. Like us, subscribe on YouTube. Find us on Twitter at Hughes or HSP_pod. You can find me at Common Courtesy with the 3 instead of the E. The Old Man, where can you be found?
At Kevin Hughes on Facebook and on Kevin Hughes on Twitter.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for everyone tuning in. Old Man, we will talk next week as you slowly cough us out.